Demi Vollering lined up the big favourite for Liege-Bastogne-Liege Femmes with a strong FDJ Suez team. But Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, this was a big goal for her. Blasi won Amstel, Cassia Niewiadoma as one Flesh recently. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot here with a strong team. Puck Peterson, maybe the most consistent rider of the spring so far, but Demi Vollering, the clear favourite. The final of Liège for the women is exactly the same as the men, even for the last 80 kilometers. Very hard race, starting with Côte de Vannes. Of course, Côte de la Redoute as a 5-minute test is the main sort of point where you think there might be attacks, but in previous years it had been used mainly to whittle down the group, and then there'd been counterattacks before Rochefort-Caen, kind of like how the men's route used to traditionally be raced. But when coverage started, we were nearly at the Côte de la Redoute. We saw Maëva Squibon attacking. She's in a group with Nomi Rook, Femke de Vries, as Niedermeyer, but as well as two FDJ teammates not pulling. So FDJ represented in front, blocking behind. SD Works weren't represented in front, so they start to chase for Anna van der Breggen. But it wasn't actually many riders pulling in this group. De Vries, actually, the FDJ riders eventually started to pull into the Redoute, but they were caught just before that climb started. They probably would have hoped to start with a 30-second gap would be nice, knowing what's to come, and FDJ take over at the bottom. Demi's in the European Champions jersey, third wheel. It's Evita Muzic, then Juliette Berthet. Behind Demi is Chabet, but we're waiting. When is Chabet going to actually start to wind it up like she's done in Tour of Flanders, so many other races this year? Maybe it was Franziska Koch on the last Qualmont Tour of Flanders. But she starts to wind it up. Are we actually going to see a Côte de la Redoute attack from Demi Vollering? We missed the start of it, like with Pogacar's attack, but here she attacks in the saddle, seated. Niewiadoma on her wheel, then Peterson, Neve Fischer-Black, Isabella Holmgren, the young rider on Little Trek, actually fifth wheel, and Vollering's just... She winds it up in the saddle first, puts everyone on the limit, and when she actually kicks out of the saddle, that's when Niewiadoma gets dropped. Peterson tries to close the gap to Vollering's wheel. It wasn't as big a gap as we saw with Pogacar and the rest. Well, so I guess Seychelles followed him there, but Demi, absolutely imperious. She's been the best rider of the spring. She's waited until Rochefort-Caen in previous years, but then that's allowed there to be more of a chaotic open race in between Redoute and Rochefort-Caen. And when you're the strongest, sometimes the simplest tactics are the best, and that was clearly what FDJ Suez and her executed today, which is line it out, keep it controlled before Redoute, do a lead out on Redoute, attack, go solo, and even with the best efforts of Peterson, Niewiadoma and Isabella Holmgren in the group behind, she's not going to get brought back on the flat. That gap goes from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. Before Rochefort-Caen, it was going towards 45, 50 seconds. But very impressive performance from Holmgren, actually. She should be playing for the podium in this race in future years. A big regrouping in Group 3 behind with Roeg and Vallières on the Rochefort-Caen. That gap is now at a minute for Vollering. You see FDJ in Group 3. They're covering everything. Vallières tries to jump across, and it's a minute 10. And look at the difference in perceived exertion. Like Demi at the top of Rochefort-Caen, long sip of the bidon. You don't take a long sip like that when you're under big pressure, when you're like in the group behind Pug Peterson and Cassia. When they were cresting, they weren't able to take a 3-second sip of their bidon. But actually, Van der Breggen drops everybody. Her and Blasi. Blasi does Rochefort-Caen. Van der Breggen then takes over. And here you see she's not far behind the Holmgren group. And Boncel, which is the climb after Rochefort-Caen, that's actually been a place where a lot of winning moves or podium moves have happened in the women's race in the past. And for Holmgren, it's not as steep as Rochefort-Caen. Doesn't suit her as well maybe as Van der Breggen or Peterson. She starts to get put under pressure by Peterson here. Van der Breggen comes back, and then she, unfortunately for Holmgren, changes the pace in that group, playing for the podium spot, drops Holmgren, Peterson on her wheel with Niewiadoma. And so this is now a new chase group. Blasi got dropped. She'd rejoin Holmgren. They'd play for the top 5. But Demi Vollering, they're obviously not going to catch her. She kept a gap of like 1 minute 10 on that climb. Van der Breggen just paces the group. So she'll come fourth, but strong effort from her. And Demi, She won Omloop, Valencia, Strada. She had the mechanical at a bad time. Tour of Flanders, she was the strongest. So for all her main goals so far this spring, she won Flèche as well. She has looked very, very good. So we got a good summer on our hands. With the Vuelta, Tour de France Femmes, can't wait for that because actually a lot of riders in good shape and different routes. But yeah, in the Spring Classics, Demi has been the best. Van der Breggen leads out the sprint. Park Peterson predictably comes second. Cassia comes third to round out the podium. But yeah, good performance from them. I think the breakout stars was, well, Paula Blasi was the breakout star of this spring. And then Isabelle Holmgren was looking pretty good as well. She came sixth. Shabby in seventh. Valliere, Julia Berthet, and Dubois-Prévost rounding out the top 10. So that group also got whittled down. Here is what Demi had to say after the race.
It's incredible. I really wanted to win again here. I mean, I really love this race. It brings back for me so many good memories. Being still a club rider, riding here, without even having a women's race yet. I was already dreaming about it, without knowing if there would ever be a women's race. But then finally we got one. I became a pro and I went for the third time here. It's incredible. I'm super proud. And wow, women's sports deserve so much more.
You made your move on La Redoute and went solo. That was the plan?
Yeah, that was the plan. I really wanted to go all out for this victory and don't have any regrets afterwards. So we made a plan to go from the Redoute. Actually, we wanted really to have a teammate in the front before, but that didn't really work out. And Still, I went, and it was a long way from there, but I managed to find the finish here and finish it off.
Hope you enjoyed the video. I can't wait to cover the women's of Vuelta. That's probably my next women's video. They got the Angleroo on offer. I think it's going to be a great race. Until then, ciao, ciao.